again, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Buri, and in today's video, as you can see, I'm not at home. I'm in a hotel room because why not have a change of scenery or a change? So today's video is going to be a bit of a quick one because my camera battery is half dead. I forgot the socket for my charger, which is one of the things that unfortunately happens because this is life. So anyway, today's video is going to be about the topic inattentive ADHD, more specifically pertaining to my recent diagnosis of inattentive ADHD, and I guess I'm going to try my best to go through a run through, if that makes sense, of how I got assessed, because hey, someone might need a tutorial, I don't know. So I have notes on here because I have a tendency to forget things and I get really fucking nervous when talking in front of a camera, but anyway, we're just going to go ahead with the video. So inattentive ADHD is one of few symptoms relating to ADHD itself, which stands for Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. So rather than focusing on the hyperactive side, this tends to focus more so on the wandering mind and the fogginess of your mind. And I don't know, but for me personally, especially pertaining to work, I have noticed that my mind tends to wander off in different places, and it was the same attitude I had with school. So when I used to go to school, right, more so secondary school, there were times where I would not pay any attention at all to my teachers because the way I learn is completely different to how other students learn. So if a teacher is just talking at me as I'm actually, I guess, trying to engage, nothing makes fucking sense and I zone out, not remembering what the fuck they're saying. Whereas if you give me visuals or you allow me to do things with my hands, I understand you. And it's the same attitude I have with work. If I'm learning something new in the workplace, I can't have you just sit there telling me what to do. You need to show me what to do. You need to talk me through things step by step and allow me to practice new things on my own. So for example, right, I'm learning how to do like AA records and things in a system we've got, right? I need demonstrations because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. So there you go. But going back to inattentive ADHD in itself, you have a range of like symptoms or behaviours, if that makes sense. So typically you have a tendency to lose focus on tasks easily. So if say you're at work, right, you're working on typing an email to, I don't know, a service manager, and your colleague comes up to you saying that you need to help them with printing because they're having issues with the printer. You go and help your colleague and then you come back and you lose track of where you are and you have to go through the whole task all over again, and that's something I tend to do a lot, especially if I'm doing detailed things like distribution records and stuff like that. So anyway, the point is I need to really, I guess, focus on like one thing at a time, otherwise I forget where I am. And I have forgetfulness not even just with work but with life as well. So most of the time, as you can see in my phone, I have a fucking calendar for bloody everything because I forget stuff. I forget events, I forget certain tasks I need to do pertaining to life admin, like something as simple as going to the post office. I have to write things down because otherwise I forget. So speaking of other symptoms in relation to inattentive ADHD, one thing that's very, let's just say, common is that it's recognised less in women, and it's the same thing with autism, which, as you already know, I have because I was diagnosed with it when I was 2. And in relation to autism assessments, I can't really tell you how that works because I was diagnosed really early on, and the only reason I knew was because I looked at my medical records in my teens as a secondary school student, because even as a child I always knew there was something wrong with me, and now I know. So When it comes to inattentive ADHD as well, you have difficulties maintaining attention on a single task, like I kind of mentioned. You have selective hearing in a sense, so if people just talk at me, as I mentioned, I zone out a lot. I really zone out a lot. And sometimes there are moments where someone's talking to me and I just get really agitated as well. I just get so agitated to the point where I feel like in my head I'm just saying fuck off, just fuck off and leave me alone, go away, just go away. So I do get distracted, I really do get distracted. And I think what it is as well, especially pertaining to work, is I notice that if I'm working in an office, which is what I do now anyway, I get agitated when there's fuck all to do because I'm in this fucking mental prison and I can't get out. And because I'm creative, it's very difficult for me to maintain motivation to work in an office because I get bored of emails, spreadsheets, documents, photocopying, filing, printing. It's all too much. And what is really funny is when I'm focusing on certain things like my art, like this YouTube channel, I can spend hours just literally sitting on my desk, just editing videos or processing things, or even doing resin crafting, like with this case that I have, which I made myself. I can spend hours just sitting there on a desk doing crafts and other art related things, but I can't focus at work because the work bores me and half the time I don't want to fucking be there anyway. And the only thing that keeps me motivated is the fact that I get paid to be there. And this is just me being honest, I get paid to be there, so that's it. So in terms of how I got my diagnosis and how I went through the process, typically in the UK, if that makes sense, when it comes to like ADHD assessments and stuff, or even autism assessments, you would often be referred by your GP to the NHS. But the problem is if you get referred for any sort of medical treatment or mental health treatment or any kind of treatment or assessment relating to disabilities, it can take months to years to actually get off the waiting list. So for example, there are times where I have done therapy through the NHS and it can take at least 6 months for me to get anything because the waiting lists are so long. I mean, even here, you can't find an NHS dentist anymore, and I know from experience because I have a private dentist now. Of course, everyone has a private dentist. So yeah, going back to the point, I ended up finding out about I don't know if I could call it a treatment centre, but I found out about another, I don't know if treatment centre is the right word, but I found out about ADHD 360. So basically with ADHD 360, it's independent from the NHS in a sense, and you can get an ADHD assessment conducted through them. So in my case, I basically inquired about ADHD assessments through my GP. They directed me to them, I think I said there, but they directed me to there, and then I registered, I got the forms, filled in the necessary information I was supposed to, and there were a couple of other things, I'm just getting my notes at the same time, that I had to do as well. So obviously I had to put in certain details in regards to whether I pay for prescriptions, certain details pertaining to my health. So this would normally relate to my blood pressure measurements, which I had to record. So this was the recent one I recorded months ago, and I had to input that in my portal. So you know when you have like your patient portal, there's all this shit that you've got to do. So once you've filled in the necessary information, you get processed through a waiting list, and then you get an email, because I think in my case I got an email which basically told me that I had to book an assessment through Microsoft Teams. So I had to select the time and select the assessor I wanted, because you have a range of different assessors. So I ended up doing the assessment through Teams this week, found out I have inattentive ADHD, and I've got a letter which confirms this, which will be forwarded to my GP. So now that I've done the assessment, the next step is medication. So there's a type of medication that I wrote down on my watch, and the medication is called Elvans. So I was just looking down because, again, scripts. So that is the medication that is typically recommended to control, or not control, but manage ADHD symptoms. I don't know if I want to take medication, because I don't really like taking medication for certain things. So in terms of, say, depression, I used to take medication for that. It didn't really help me, so I pretty much just went off it cold turkey instead, because I just didn't want to take it. I didn't feel any different, and even if I don't take it, I'm gonna feel like shit anyway. So my mindset is more so I have to manage in a way that benefits me. And it's the same thing with autism, really, especially as an adult, because I find that support is cut off when you're 18. At least for me, there's not really much I can access. I mean, although I found out about things like access to work, I didn't know that really existed until about 1 or 2 years ago, and even then I have no idea what accommodations I need, because I've managed work life without accommodation, because I've worked since I was 19. I've worked for basically 6+ years of my life across 3 different jobs. Although I suppose in relation to the fact that I burned out of jobs after 1.5 years, things make sense now, and I realise that the type of jobs I'm doing aren't really for me, because since going to university, about 70 to 80% of my work history is purely admin, and I'm good at my job, but admin is not something I want to do forever. So I mean, I've thought of going into HR for some reason because of the money, which is stupid, I know. But I don't know, with jobs and things like that, obviously my job is going through a restructure process and fucking whatever. So there's many reasons as to why I'm looking for another job, but besides that, I'm trying to look for somewhere closer to home, because commuting every day does my head in, and I just get mentally tired. And I have noticed in myself, and I don't know if this is pertaining to ADHD or whatever in particular, but I've noticed in myself that I've checked out. I have checked out, and I'm just kind of acting. So when I'm working, you will see a completely different side of me in a sense, because I've masked for most of my life, and it's something I continue to do, although it exhausts me, because I feel like I don't have a choice, and this is just how I've dealt with most of my bloody life. So, well, I don't know if this is gonna help anyone. I don't know if you think you have ADHD or have signs of it. I would suggest trying out ADHD 360. I am going to put a link in the description and things like that. My phone is ringing and I want to ignore it for now, but anyway, this is a quick one, and I have good news besides that. I've lost nearly a whole kilogram since I've started exercising regularly. I used to be 66.5 kilograms and now I'm 65.8 kilograms because I've been exercising more, which is really great because it keeps me going. So I alternate between indoor biking, stretching and squats, and since I've been exercising, I don't know, I just feel it kind of helps with maybe depression in a way because I'm channeling my energy into something and I'm not agitated. I'm doing this, I don't know, as I'm talking I just feel like, I don't know. This is kind of a chaotic video. I'm inconsistent. This channel is experimental and inconsistent just like me. But anyway, I hope this helps you. And I'm getting agitated because I'm hungry. I'm having cravings. I have dry roasted peanuts, but I don't really like these and I don't know if I'm going to finish them because the aftertaste is just awful. But I'm just eating these because I'm hungry. when you're hungry, you have no choice. But I have this to chase it down. So I'm gonna sit here, or lay here, and watch it come down with me until I go for a good 5-course meal. I don't know how I'm gonna end this, so enjoy your weekend. Bye.